Yeah. I'll just go down here.
Yeah, I'm Neil. I play drums for 3 Days Grace, and I play keyboards as well. And we're here in Manchester for the last night of the UK tour. You know, we've played here before, and it's always been amazing. You know, I mean, obviously the musical background of Manchester is about as rich as it gets. You know, and I think that comes from an open-mindedness that people have about music and new music and discovering new things and stuff. So I think it's going to be great. Very much so, yeah. You know, music has always been a form of release for us, and you know, I think it's really important to stay true to yourselves and continue to write from the heart and from the gut and from your psyche. And sometimes that's difficult because, you know, there's some dark places in there. But I think if you stay true to yourself and write from real experiences and real emotions that you're having, that's the best connection you can make with your fans, because it becomes real to them as well. Because, you know, we write about things in our lives that everybody goes through. You know, loss. You know. Basically, you know, the lives that are affected around us, you know, things that we've caused, you know, and I think that people can kind of hear that honesty in the music. So Outsider talks a lot about kind of being caught up in the chaos of modern world and yearning to take a big step backwards so you can kind of make sense of it from a distance.
Yeah.
No, I think we've touched, like, you know, we've touched on quite a bit of stuff on this album, as far as, like, we talk about anxiety and just how that's kind of like, I don't know whether anxiety is a new epidemic or maybe just people are talking about it more. But the world's moving at a much more rapid pace, and I think that lends itself to kind of having feelings of just like being overwhelmed by anxiety and stuff like that. And just, you know, like I said, wanting to kind of just remove yourself from the situation so that you can look at it and kind of make sense of it, even though when you're in amongst sensory overload, it seems completely, you know, absurd at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I often, like, if we're playing a festival, oftentimes I'll go and kind of just eavesdrop on people, how they're talking to each other and how they communicate, because I just find different, like, in songwriting, we try to not, like, be too contrived and over poetic just for the sake of it. We'd rather kind of like dagger straight to the heart and say exactly what we mean to say. And a lot of times, yeah, I get inspired by just what people are talking about, and they don't even know that I'm listening. I overheard someone planning making some pretty substantial crime plans. We played in Rio, and we played where they do Rock in Rio, and that was just complete insanity. You know, it was very. People are really celebrating life down there. You know, when you wake up in the morning hungover, you feel really lazy because you open your window and there's just thousands of people on the beach, you know, celebrating life. And so we always love going down to Brazil and South America. Yeah. But variety is the spice of life, so, you know, it's cool to just be able to see the world in this way. Yeah, I'm from a small town in Peterborough, and you know, there's a venue there called the Gordon Best Theatre, and that's where, like, you know, we would play for 7 of our hardest core fans. But that's also actually where we did a showcase at the Gordon Best Theatre. That's where all the record labels came out to see us, and so playing at that very club that we used to play when we were teenagers was responsible for getting us. They drove up in a snowstorm from New York City to Peterborough, Ontario, just by driving. It's pretty cool. Oh, I think it's very important. The town I come from has an amazing scene, and you know, I always try to tell people, just, you know, because we get asked the question quite a bit, like, what would you tell an aspiring new musician? And I just say a couple of things of, like, plan on a long road, because I don't believe in like shortcuts at all. And I think in society, well, not society, in sort of entertainment today, there's so much like singing competitions and like stuff like that on TV. People think it can happen overnight and you can just kind of be at the right place at the right time, and I think that's all shit. I think that maybe once in a while that can happen where you just magically have it overnight, but I feel like if you have like some sort of overnight success, then that's going to be fleeting. I think it takes a ton of time and a ton of patience and tenacity to hone your skill to be at a level where you can compete with, you know, there's so many great musicians out there. So I just tell people to just like plan for the long haul. You know, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
From the town that I live in kind of has or the town I'm from has kind of a hippie vibe, and it's got a couple universities and stuff. So there's a lot of people kind of just doing their own thing and supportive of one another. But I think, you know, I think it's difficult to probably get to be a new band and kind of get yourself out there unless you work your ass off, because just there's so much competition, and you know, online, like it's much easier to create quality sounding recording, you know, just with modern technology. That doesn't mean that the song's good, but it's it's a saying in Canada, you can't polish a turd, you know. Rag on us Canadians for saying "eh,"
Yeah.
but it's the same thing you guys have in it, and it means the exact same thing. And it's what it's a polite term. You're giving the person you're talking to an opportunity to disagree with you with what you just said, which is actually quite a nice thing to go. It's pretty hot outside today, isn't it? It gives a person an opportunity, or it gives them to say, no, actually, it's fucking cold. Well, we got a phone call to open for the Rolling Stones. So we played 2 shows with the Rolling Stones in Canada, and it was like 55,000 people a night. It was just crazy, and like in between the 2 shows there was a day off, so the Rolling Stones threw a party. We were invited to the party, and like I was like sitting there drinking a beer with Mick Jagger, reminiscing about the show the night before, and just like chilling, and that was like, just to see how down to earth the Rolling Stones were as people. They watched our show both nights. They were just cool guys. And that struck a chord with me. I don't have time for anybody in the music industry that thinks they're like cooler than someone else, or they think that their time's more important than someone else's. Because Mick's not like that, so nobody should be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess there's, you know, I'm like, I worship the band Tool, basically, and so anything that involves Maynard or any of the guys in Tool, I'm totally fanboy when it comes to that. I've met him a couple times, and I couldn't speak very well. Yeah, no, Tool is just, they've been my favorite band since I was a kid.
Yeah.
We were actually, when we were recording 1X, Tool was in the same studio mixing 10,000 Days in the next room.
Wow.
So we hung out a little bit and stuff.
That's brilliant.
I fell off the back of the stage one time, in the middle of a song. I just leaned back, I was just rocking out, I was getting into it, and I leaned back and there was nothing behind me, and I just fell off the stage. There was a table that broke my fall, but we had to stop the song. It was pretty embarrassing. Matt and I just went to, we just got back from Africa actually a few weeks ago. We went to Kenya. We're supporting some initiatives that they're doing down there for some water projects and stuff, and we wanted to get behind it and maybe try to raise some funds and raise some awareness for some of the challenges they're facing. So we went down there and checked out some of the sites, and we took a videographer with us. So we're gonna actually release like a little mini documentary that just talks about our experience down there, and then hopefully if we can help out in some way, then we'll try to get involved in like a water project and maybe go back down and check out after it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I have a friend who works at World Vision, and so he goes out to Africa all the time. And we're just having conversations about like what small amount of money, you've heard it all on TV, but when you actually get there and you smell the air and you feel the dirt and you see the lives, it becomes really fucking real. And basically like they don't have access to fresh drinking water in a lot of places. we experienced some pretty extreme poverty. There's a lot of child protection issues too. It's pretty scary. The stats on child abuse and all that kind of stuff is just like, really fucking sad. But you know, so he's working on projects for $80,000 Canadian, which is like, I don't know what is that right now, $50,000.
Probably, yeah.
You know, they can build a rescue center for 50 kids, you know, who have been abused or something like that. It's just like, it seems so doable, and so we just feel like because we have an audience and we have a vehicle to be able to just spread some stories, we thought we should go down there, experience it for ourselves, and see if we can like do something. You know? I feel like it's easy to do, to spread word and awareness, because I'm talking to a camera right as we speak.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we? You know, it's an opportunity, and it feels like something we want to do, and it makes us feel good. And I think it's something that a lot of fans really get on board for. No, I think yeah, it's something that we've always wanted to do, just because we can. Don't sweat stupid shit, and how you're feeling in this very moment does not necessarily reflect how you're going to feel in the future. So especially if you're feeling down and out, accepting that that's okay to feel like that, because I used to beat myself up for feeling like shit if I didn't feel well. But I've realized as I get older, like, you know, it's all just chemicals in your brain, you know what I mean? And if there's an imbalance of chemicals in your brain, we're extremely complex machines. You might have a day where you feel like shit, but it's a slippery slope between that and like hopelessness. And so I would never want to slide down all the way down that slippery slope, because I know that things can turn around and they generally will work out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to